Hello, and welcome to this little crash course in being a beta reader. This video is meant to be an overview of how to be an effective beta reader. There are plenty of great resources out there that delve into the more nitty-gritty details on the subject, but hopefully this will be a good place to start. Alright, first, what is a beta reader? Well, a beta reader is an early reader of a book before it's published. First, the author writes early draft and sends it to the alpha readers, and the alpha readers then read that early draft, and based on that, they write down feedback and then send that feedback on all the way back to the author, who then receives the feedback, makes revisions based on that, and creates another draft of the book, and after that, it's sent off to the beta readers. Sometimes the author sends a new draft back to alpha readers who give more feedback and stuff, but I'm simplifying things in this case. The main difference between alpha and beta readers is that alpha readers are looking for underlying structural problems and more big picture issues with the book, while beta readers are more focused on how the book works for them, which is why beta readers are often from the intended audience of the book. Alright, now let's talk about some ways to be an effective beta reader. As a beta reader, you are mainly looking for, issues with the book. But again, unlike an alpha reader, a beta reader is mainly seeing if the book functions well. So one of the best ways to identify a place in the book that might have a problem is by asking yourself, is there anything here that keeps taking me out of the book? Breaking immersion, so to speak. When writing your feedback, it might help to keep in mind these three things: plot, pacing, and character. The plot is the story of the book. It's the sequence of events that take place and are relayed to the reader by the author, thus conveying a story. The pacing of the story refers to the speed at which the story is moving along. It's important to note that slower pacing isn't a bad thing, necessarily. The key to good pacing is proper balance of fast-paced scenes versus slower-paced scenes, and placing those correctly and in a good order. Character, obviously, refers to any characters in the book, both the main characters and any side characters. Alright, let's go over some quick tips, shall we? Number 1, take notes as you read. This is a great way to make sure you don't forget the thoughts you have as you read. 2, be detailed in your feedback. The more detailed your feedback is, the better the author can understand it, and the more helpful it is in improving the story. 3, keep context in mind. If the author is writing a cheesy historical romance story, don't tell the author their book is bad just because it doesn't have giant magical monsters in it, right? Try and keep in mind the intended genre and feel of the book and type of plot and all these things, and give feedback through that lens, right? 4, make note of things you like. Yes, you're mainly looking for problems with the book, but keep an eye out for anything that you think is really good, whether that be a snippet of dialogue, a great description, or a whole scene that you think is just amazing. This can be very encouraging to an author, and it will help make sure they don't cut something really good out on accident. Alright, now let me show you some examples of feedback on scale of least effective to most effective. Least effective:
this chapter was bad.
Not very helpful, not detailed at all, nothing like that. Alright, somewhat effective:
this chapter felt really boring to me, like the whole story just slowed down to a snail's pace, and some of the dialogue was weird.
Aha! See, now that's a little better. More detail. The comment on it being boring lets the author know that there may be something wrong with the pacing here. At the very least, the author has a starting point when looking at this chapter. Most effective:
this whole chapter felt like the story got stuck in the mud. Nothing interesting was happening, and I didn't learn anything about the characters or the world, and the dialogue really took me out of it. It didn't feel like it was stuff real people would say, and that just took me right out of the story.
Alright, that's much better. Now the author knows exactly what to take a closer look at. It's detailed and points at possible problems without being prescriptive, giving solutions that the reader thinks would fix it. Whew. Okay, that was a lot. Let's do a quick review, shall we? First, the main thing you're paying attention to is if there's anything that takes you out of the story, that breaks your immersion. So you're not really looking at the underlying structure, the support beams and all that. You're looking at the facade of it, how nice the paint looks and how well everything is placed and all that, so to speak. It might help to keep in mind these three categories so you can better identify the problem areas. Plot, story itself, pacing, the relative speed of each chapter and scene in the story, and character, the characters, obviously. And of course, the quick tips. 1, take notes as you read. 2, be detailed with your feedback. 3, keep context in mind. And 4, make note of good things too. Well, that's it for now. I hope you've learned a little something at least. I'll be back with another video soon. Hopefully. Until then, go forth and read.